When I was growing up, nothing in my house was made in China, and that's because China was not a major player on the global economy. Now, as I grew up, more and more items in my home start to come from China. That means in the past few decades, China went from being non-existent to the economical market to being the second largest player on the global economy. Now, it seems like that uptrend has now met this downtrend, and how would that impact the global market and the lives of everyone on the globe? Now, even though the downtrend of China has not yet been felt internationally or globally, the population within China are definitely feeling. You must keep in mind that a lot of people in China from the age of 25 to 40, they do not know any China except for the China that is expanding economically, meaning they could have good jobs and afford to live in good locations. Now, unemployment is happening massively in China. A lot of companies are laying off, and the other companies are also lowering their salary.
我被裁员了。
我被裁员了。原因是因为我的成本比较高。
我失业了。
1 in every 4 Chinese already experience lowering their salary for those who work at office. That means they have also to relocate themselves, live in luxury apartments or good locations, and now live in the suburbs, paying lower rent and scrap for coins in order just to feed themselves. This economical downtrend with large companies either leaving China or lowering the salary of the employees may have some serious political implications for Xi Jinping. We must remember that China is a communist country and Xi Jinping is its leader. And Xi Jinping has passed many laws violating people's basic freedom, which people were okay with because after all, they were having economical benefits of expanding China. Now in a contracting economy in China, it will be hard for Xi Jinping to continue have the same amount of power over people. After all, they're not happy on how the country is going economically. In my view, Xi Jinping may have challenges internally and externally. And it is not just large companies leaving China on unemployment. We also have the stock market of China has lost $6 trillion in the past 18 months. And of course, a lot of that is driven by Evergrande and Country Garden. If you have been following the channel, you must have heard that Evergrande went bankrupt. Evergrande is the third largest construction company in China. And now Country Garden is also facing the same situation. So the construction real estate sector in China is also on the verge of collapse. By the way, if you're watching this video and have more interest on cryptocurrencies, I have made the Crypto Basics course precisely for crypto newbies such as you. Link for that on the description below. And it's not just violation of basic freedom. Xi Jinping, sensing the problem, have decided to create an equality campaign, a campaign to bring more equality and less disparity between the poor and the rich. Now, many Marxist countries have tried that many times over, and we always have the same result. Whenever in the past, leaders have tried to take money from those who produce and give to those who do not produce, we have the same consequence. Those who have capital find a way to flee the country, and the capital flees outside China, regardless of the restrictions imposed by the government. Now, Xi Jinping's attempt to bring equality did not only push away local money, also prevent investors from abroad from investing in China. After all, there's a lot of regulation in China. Xi Jinping even tried to over-regulate the private schools. And of course, once that happens, investment from abroad also start bringing their money into China. And since we're talking about regulation, the regulation on YouTube says that liking and leaving a comment really optimize the algorithm. So please like and leave a commentary below. Now, despite all capital restrictions imposed by Xi Jinping, capital has found a new destination. Capital has gone from China to Singapore. There's a documentary on Bloomberg that shows that $2 billion worth of criminal capital has fled from China into Singapore. And it's not just criminal money going to Singapore. The investment made by the Chinese people in Singapore has increased by 79%. COVID-19 is a good example of what can happen if China's economy goes through a very strong slowdown. After all, Xi Jinping's regulation was to shut down some cities with some big ports and cities with some factories. And the globe felt a massive amount of inflation on chips and products. So whenever China economy goes through a slowdown, that same consequence will happen again on the globe. Now, besides the consequences we experience in COVID, there are other consequences which is already being felt. After all, the internal population in China are no longer having the same purchasing power. Companies are leaving, people are being laid off, or having their salaries being lowered. That means a lot of companies that were making money by selling products to China are no longer being able to do so, such for instance as Apple. Apple, Volkswagen, Louis Vuitton, and a few other companies do not longer have the same public to consume their goods as they used to have. Also, we're going to have some other consequences, because if China economy lowers down, remember, China is the main manufacturer of the planet. That means they have to buy a lot of resources from other countries. And those resources or natural resources are not going to be purchased because China are not going to be able to manufacture as many goods as was manufacturing before. That means other countries not being able to sell their resources to China, but also means that the world is going to be manufacturing less products. Less products being manufactured, that means less goods to be bought, and that means inflationary pressure. And besides all that, we still have tensions increasing between the US and China over Taiwan. Xi Jinping has made very clear that he wants, within his mandate, to bring Taiwan back into China. Now, the US has not taken a strong stand yet. On one hand, the US does not recognize Taiwan as a country independent from China. And on the other hand, they do provide a military service, and they are heavily involved and dependent on helping Taiwan in case China makes an invasion. And without China making any major move towards taking Taiwan, we already see the US having their reactions. Biden has imposed a lot of sanctions because he's afraid of the Chinese military having access to very sophisticated microchips. We also have the situation that China is also building the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, that is a massive project of Xi Jinping, which is giving a lot of Chinese money to Africa, Asia, and some other countries in Europe. Now, those countries are also not going to be receiving that money because in the end, Xi Jinping is going to have to choose its own local economy and the possibility to annexate Taiwan back into China or build a massive infrastructure globally. My bet is he will choose his internal economy and to annexate Taiwan. At least those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know that on the comments below. So to make a summary, when I was growing up, things were more expensive and things were not manufactured in China. As more things start to be coming to our homes made in China, that means China became the main manufacturer of the planet, providing the planet with very cheap stuff. It seems like that time where things were cheap, it's over. If China goes into recession, that means China will not be buying resources anymore to manufacture goods. China will no longer be the manufacturer of goods. Things are going to have to be manufactured in other places with higher costs. Not only that, if China invades Taiwan or tries to annexate Taiwan back into China, that means a war between the West and China. And even if China will be manufacturing things, it's very likely that the US will try to impose sanctions on China. That means disruption on supply chain. And again, more inflationary pressure. We're going to be paying higher prices for things that were cheap when made in China. At least those are my thoughts. If you disagree with me, let me know that on the comments below. This is for now. Do not forget to like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and above it all, share this video with someone else who can benefit from this. See you guys next video.